Okay, so let's get into the conversation while I'm digging for my foundation. On Instagram a few weeks ago, if you don't follow me on Instagram, what are you waiting for? Okay. I wanted to have a conversation about friendship, and I intended to go back on my story and continue the conversation, because usually what I do is I put up like polls on my story and I ask people what their thoughts are on the polls. So my intention was to go back onto the story and start yapping, because that's what I usually do to give my little 2 cents or whatever. Or sometimes I just post like a text response, like a typed response. It really just depends. But I don't know, I think I got distracted, or I decided to, I don't know. But either way, it's been a minute. I asked these questions about friendship in the beginning of March. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the conversation. So my first question was, do you think that making friends as an adult is hard? And surprisingly, some people said no, because I felt like the general consensus is that it's hard to make friends as an adult. And I agree with that. Once you graduate from college and you start working, I feel like we have less opportunities to get to know people, or meet people, I should say. So unless you're like putting yourself out there, you go to events, or you're like a part of an organization, maybe you're Greek or whatever the case may be, I think that it's harder. You have to put more effort into meeting people if you're not part of an organization, or if you're not part of some type of group or whatever. So you really have to put an effort to be social as an adult to make connections with people. So I do think it's harder, because like, for instance, like elementary school, you know, high school, you know, our friends, it's about proximity, right? Because the people that we were friends with, we met in school. I'm sorry, I'm like digging for my makeup while I'm talking. I should probably set it up, but we just kind of have to go with it, roll with it, okay? So anyway, so like in school, the people that you become friends with are typically people that you go to school with. They're just there. You just go to school, sometimes you just sit by somebody, and y'all become friends. That's not how it really goes as an adult. Of course, you can make friends if you're not part of orgs. You can make friends at work, or at the library, Starbucks, I don't know. You can just meet people wherever, but I feel like it does take a lot more effort to put yourself out there. Now, let's put me in it, okay? So, long story short, I'm gonna go into this Nubian Juvia's Place palette. I'm taking Morocco. It's this red shade. I'm gonna put it in my crease. I think I might not do a natural look today. Y'all know I love a natural look when I come on here. I might put on some color. We'll see. Let's see how this goes. I don't have like a look planned out or anything. So anyway, so my experience making friends. What I've mentioned several times in many different videos, and if you follow me on Instagram or follow my blog, tashararobinson.com, go ahead and check that out. I've blogged about my social anxiety, but the thing is that I never knew I had social anxiety. I just kind of felt like people didn't really like me or didn't gravitate toward me. I like gave into this false belief that I wasn't really likable, or that women didn't like me, or they were hating on me. So that was my belief, and I think that contributed to my ability to befriend women specifically, and even black women. And I'm not gonna go ahead and psychoanalyze myself here on camera, but you know, our childhood does have a lot to do with a lot of ways that we operate as adults. There have been times when I was younger, I've always been more of a shy child, but like once I'm comfortable, it's it. Like I am very social once I'm comfortable. Same story now as an adult, but anyway. But there have been times when I was younger where you know, I felt kind of rejected by, you know, kids and stuff like that. I think that contributes to my ability to make friends. So anyway, back up. When I was in my early 20s, like I said earlier, it was more so like these bitches is hating. And I also thought it was because of my environment. So I'm from Seattle. In Seattle, if you know anything about it, or if you don't, I'll just let you know that there's a reputation for it being a non-social place. If you Google the Seattle freeze, you can read all about it. So in addition to like me thinking that people didn't like me or I thought people were hating, I also was from Seattle, so I attributed people being standoffish to me being in Seattle, which could be the case. It doesn't have to all be about me, right? So anyway, I moved to Georgia for grad school, and I wrote a little bit about this in my social anxiety blog, but like I remember like putting myself out there, like going to group meetings, like organizations for like Black people and stuff like that. And I remember being like so nervous. Like I get social anxiety when I'm not comfortable in a social situation. So that could be public speaking, could be like meeting new people, like going to a networking event. If I don't know anyone there, then I'm not going to feel comfortable, and I can start feeling my social anxiety. So for me, it's mostly like somatic. So it's like my heart will be racing, my neck will get so stiff to the point where I cannot turn my neck. That's how my social anxiety affects me. Or my hands will be sweating. It's just like I just feel like I'm under extreme stress when I'm not comfortable in a social environment. It's just a really uncomfortable experience. Back then I didn't know that I had social anxiety, but now I do know that I have some social anxiety in certain situations. That leads me to act certain, like I guess be scared to put myself out there, and things like that. Or just, you know, be apprehensive about it. So for me specifically, I do think that I have an extra hurdle in addition to being an adult. So I have to put myself out there. However, doing that sometimes creates extreme anxiety for me. So for me, or you know, people who are out there who are very shy or have social anxiety or whatever the case may be, I definitely feel like you have to find ways in order to work through it. I think that sometimes, at least for me, I want to speak for myself because I don't want to, social anxiety, you know, is a mental condition. So I don't want to, I'm not a therapist. I'm not trying to give people therapeutic advice here, but for me specifically, it's about confidence and knowing that yes, there is always a chance for rejection, but do it anyway. You know, there's always a chance for social rejection, but you just put yourself out there anyway and take a chance. So I definitely decided to put some color on my lids this time. Y'all know I love a natural look. Okay, but I'm using my Morphe palette. I'm putting Faux Real on my lids. And my crease, that's still the Morocco from my Juvia's Place palette. And then I also put, from my Morphe palette, which palette is this? Bronze Babe. Again, I'll put everything that I'm using in my description box anyway. But from this palette, I'm using Road Trip and then Now Boarding in my crease as well. So the next question was, do you think it's hard making close friends as an adult? And majority of people said yes. I definitely agree with that. I do think it's easier to meet people to just kick it, to just go out. But to find friends that you can count on, to find friends that you can confide in, I think that's harder to do, period. Because I think that it requires vulnerability to establish that type of relationship, and to become vulnerable with someone takes time. So I think it's hard to make friends, period, or find good friends, but also to get close to them, it just takes a lot, you know. But it can definitely be done. Like I've definitely become closer to people that I've met over the years, and it takes time. It just takes time. It's not quick like it used to be when you're younger at all. Okay, so the next question was, do you ever desire to have more friends? And it was 50-50. Some people was like, no new friends, I'm good over here. And then the other half was like, yeah, I desire. So I can relate to both because I felt both ways before. Previously, like I've definitely felt like no new friends, or like I'm just kind of good, you know, with who I have in my life. But there's definitely times where I feel like I want more friends. Like now, of course I want new connections. I'm in a new city. So yes, naturally I desire to have more friends right now or meet new people. But even like when I was in Seattle, before I moved over here or started doing travel social work, I definitely had that desire to meet new people. And so I definitely started to try to put myself out there a lot more to meet new friends and meet new people. And that's because I had like 2 major friendship breakups right before the pandemic hit. Like, damn, like how am I gonna lose 2 friends right before the pandemic hit? Goddamn. Anyway, so I did write a blog post about that. It's 2 separate blog posts. I will try to remember to leave the direct link to these blog posts below, but I don't want to make this video about those friendship breakups. But so I had a best friend who we had a friendship breakup. It was kind of coming though. Like, the relationship got more, it just felt real uncomfortable. I just didn't like being around her anymore. And I know she felt the same way about me. Like, we kept having petty arguments. It just was real toxic. And it just not immediately, but it eventually ended. That was one. And then also, I also had like a best friend, I guess I'll describe him as, but we started off as really close best friends, and then it progressed to us dating, and then that didn't work, so it was like a situationship for several years, and then that ended. And so 2 really close, important friendships to me ended right before the pandemic, right before I had to subject myself to isolation. So it was a lot. So at that point, of course, I did desire more friends, because I'm like, I just, you know, lost 2 important friendships. Though, even though they were toxic ties, they're still important, right? And it was still a big part of me that I lost and I had to grieve and go through. So yeah, with that being said, yes, I do desire more friendships. I think it's natural to want to make connections. We need people. We're not supposed to be lonely. We're not supposed to be isolated. We're supposed to have these connections. And you know what's crazy is that I never used to feel that way when I was younger. I never used to, like my early 20s, mid 20s, I would never ever prioritize my friendships with girls and women over romantic ties. But now that I'm almost 30, I definitely see the value in having close friendships with women. It is so important. Like, if you're younger watching this, do not believe the lies that you do not need women friendships. You need that. Like, I think there's a study that says that friendships with women, having good friendships, like that makes them feel happy. Like, that is like a key indicator that, you know, you're happy, is when you have good close friendships. So before we get into the next question, I'm trying a Fenty Beauty bronzer. I saw some swatches on Instagram of this pigment. I was like, hold on, I need to get this, okay? This is my first time using it. It very much so mimics the blush I was using as my bronzer from MAC, which is Film Noir. It's giving the same thing to me, but maybe not as pigmented. I wouldn't say pigmented, but I would say it's not as deep as the color, because Film Noir, that is a deep shade, okay? It's like almost like a purple. My next question was, what do you think about befriending coworkers? And it was, again, kind of 50-50, but most people were saying it's a no for me. And I think that depending on the situation, it can be good, especially as an adult. Like, I think a lot of the connections we make are at work, and we spend the most time we have at work a lot of the time. So I think that work can be a source of good connections. Sometimes when you meet people at work, it's kind of like once you leave that position, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, I feel like. But that doesn't have to be the case all the time. So I do feel like sometimes you gotta tread lightly with friendships at work, because you can't really be trusting people at work. People are conniving sometimes. Like, I've definitely felt like I had kind of made friendships at work, and then it ended up being like they tried to like throw me under their bus for some BS at work. So you definitely got to be careful, especially as a black woman in the workplace, with the connections you make, especially with people who are not black, or even with people who are black. sometimes kinfolk and kinfolk, so keep that in mind. But I agree with both. Like, I do feel like you can make connections at work. I do feel like you gotta tread lightly sometimes. And for some reason, I guess I decided to keep asking people about work. Child, the next question I asked was, what type of work environment do you prefer? Do you prefer a work environment where coworkers are like family, or a work environment where you just come to collect your check? And it was still like 50-50, but more people said they just come to collect their check. Which I'm more so like, I just come to collect my check, child. And if I make connections while I'm there, then that's good. If I don't, then I don't. But I do like a friendly work environment. I like a work environment where, like, I come to work and, you know, we have a conversation. I don't want a work environment where it's just cold and standoffish. You know, I do like to talk to my coworkers. This looks so golden right now. Like, I'm feeling my makeup right now. I'm so glad I decided to do like a colored eye instead of like a neutral eye that I always do. Okay, so next question, which I have asked on my Instagram page before. If you don't follow me on Instagram, what you waiting for? Go ahead and follow me. It's the prototype _, okay? I'll put it on the screen here so I can just spell it out for y'all so y'all make no mistakes. The next question I asked was, do you think platonic relationships are more intimate than romantic ones? And most people said no. If someone would have asked me that maybe a year ago or so, before I had my friendship fallouts, I would have said, the fuck are you talking about? Ain't nothing more intimate against but now, after, you know, having, you know, after the demise of a close friendship, I don't mean to sound all deep right now, but damn. After losing close friendships, you begin to realize how deep and how intimate your connections are with friends. They're very, very, very deep. But I also think that that can be like, you can look at it several different ways, right? Because your romantic partner is supposed to be your best friend too. But a lot of times we don't date people that we care for as a friend. Sometimes we don't have that type of connection with people that we're dating, so it's not really that intimate outside of sex. However, if you do have a great friendship with your romantic partner and you know, then you have sex, and of course that's a very intimate connection. And losing that type of connection will be, you know, traumatic. But again, I think that best friendships, close friendships are very intimate. You're sharing a lot of intimate stories with them. You're sharing a lot of experience with them. Your birthday, marriage, having a baby. When something happens to you, you go and run and tell them, okay, if it's bad or good. You know, you're sharing so much of your life with these people, and it's very intimate because of the connection y'all share. Another ghetto thing happens, you know, ghetto shit happens on my channel, you know, whatever. I ran out of space in my memory card, okay? So I kind of finished most of my look off camera, but I got some more stuff to do on my face, and I gotta do my hair. So let's finish the conversation. The last question I asked on Instagram was, we always talk about trauma from romantic relationships, but can you also experience trauma from friendships as well? So most people said yes, but there's some people who also said no. Very few people said no, but I definitely feel like you can experience trauma from friendships. I don't think that trauma is exclusive to romantic relationships. I don't think trauma is exclusive to childhood. I think that you can have traumatic things can happen to you at any point in your life, okay? Including within friendships. Think about it, like, so much can happen in a friendship. Betrayal can happen in a friendship, like betrayal or like they could just be acting funny toward you. There could be a lot of rejection, judgments, just whatever. Like, there can be things that happen to you that can, again, be traumatic. One thing I will say is that this is kind of not really related to that question, but I'm really happy that there's so much attention being given to friendships between women now, or maybe I'm just really hyper aware of it. Like ever since like Insecure, the last Insecure season, where you know Issa and Molly were going through their thing, I've been feeling like there's been a lot more attention being given to friendships, and I love it. Like we have to talk about how important, how meaningful connections with women are, how important they are in our lives. I don't feel like we talk about it enough in media, or the stories that we tell ourselves on our own respective platforms. I think a lot of the time we give a lot of attention to romantic connections, marriage and shit, or like even kids, but like we don't really talk that much about friendships and how when you do have quality friendships in your life, it gives you, it can be a source of happiness. It makes you feel fulfilled, you know? So I appreciate that. At least I am personally seeing that like there's kind of been like a switch in content, or like or at least content that I've been consuming that talks a lot more about friendships and the stories about friendship. I appreciate that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I would love to talk to you guys further. My comments are always open. My DMs on Instagram are always open. So let's go ahead and talk about friendships more. Okay, y'all, you are now looking at a black woman who has done her first twist out, okay? Okay, let me not even cap. When I took my twist out down this morning, because it took a whole day to dry, okay, let's be clear. I did it Friday night. I took down my weave, did my twist out Friday night. I was so tired, y'all, but it wasn't hard. Like all this time I've been putting off experimenting with my natural hair because I'm like, I don't have time to learn my hair, but it was not hard. Okay, I used like 3 products and voila. So what was I saying? Oh, when I first took my twist out down, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is not it. And then I went to go work out and it got really big. And so it's giving volume. It's giving a lot of volume right now. These pieces right here are a little out of place or whatever. It is a little frizzier. It's probably because of the humidity, because it's been raining and it's me working out. But I went to work out and it got really big and I was like, I fucked it up, I think. So I tried to do like a style when I got home today and it looked ugly as fuck. So I took it down and then I just detangled this part, the front part again. So it's still it's not damp. I just blow dried it. So this is more so like a wash and go in the front, and then the rest is my twist out. But I love it. It's the first time I've ever worn my hair out. Oh my god, like guys, I'm excited as fuck. Like I want to keep playing in my hair, but I have a braid appointment coming up. So I'm only gonna be able to play it for this week and then it's back to hiding my hair again. But yeah, I love it so much. Like what the fuck. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for hanging in with me, you know, through my little technical difficulties or whatever. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. Again, thanks for watching. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, what you waiting on? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can know when my videos become live. You know, my schedule is a little crazy right now. I'm not posting every week like I should be doing, but you know, I'm gonna give you guys the content when I have it, when I have time to create it. Sooner than later, I'll be a lot more consistent with my YouTube content. I just can't get enough of my hair, y'all. Like listen, okay. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all next time.